Stacey, thank you for joining us this morning. How much do the memories of 2013 kind of come back to you this week back in St Andrews?
Massively. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite places in the world to be, obviously because of the success, but just love the history of the game and this golf course and this place, and just the memories I've had here with golf and my family, and to be able to bring everybody back again is a really big deal. And it's been a lot of fun this week. It's been very busy, but it's been a lot of fun.
And I seem to remember in 2013 the weather was a little bit kinder than it looks like it's being to us at the moment. How challenging do you think this is going to be for the players, and how much will your experience of St Andrews help you this week?
Yeah, I mean, the weather it always is the biggest test when we come over here. And, 2013, we had our share of issues as well. I mean, we didn't play at all on Saturday because of wind. But, this week looks horrendous, to be honest. And you just have to deal with it the best you can and get through it. I mean, the biggest difference, I think, is in the golf course itself and how much softer it's playing than 2013. I mean, I look back at the old yardage book and the pictures, and it was much more brown. Ball was running a whole lot more. So the golf course plays very different when it's wet like this. So take as much local knowledge as I can, and, knowing where to hit it in certain situations, and, is definitely helpful out here.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll take some questions from the floor. If you raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Louine, we'll just get you a microphone.
You were talking about, loving the history of the place. Mm-hmm. Now, do you read books on St Andrews, or what do you know? What can you tell us about the history of St Andrews?
I mean, obviously, it's the home of golf. It's where golf started. You can go, specifically all the old buildings, all the, when I played Curtis Cup here, I had the local caddy I got, and I don't remember everything he told me, but it was like specific holes of telling me, how the golf courses were played, and how, the holes were played in reverse, and it was originally 22 holes, and now how we got back to 18, and you can go on forever, but I'm a big believer in, you don't move forward in anything without knowing your past and knowing how the game started, and being on a list of past champions of the greats of the game. For so long, we've watched the guys play here for so many years and have names, they've won here, and to have females' names added to that list, to me, is such a big deal. And to think that my name is now on the list with all of them, to have one at St. Andrews is really, really cool. And I'm excited that we'll have a third added after this week.
Chris, on the left-hand side.
Stacy, as we've said, has a tremendous history here, Curtis Cup and AIG Women's Open. What specific memories come back to you when you return to St Andrews?
The celebrations, being at the Dunvegans, we celebrated Curtis Cup there, celebrated my win there. Certain shots, certain holes, obviously the finish in 13. Just kind of like little bits and pieces you remember. One of my Curtis Cup matches, I remember I was playing alternate shot with a good friend of mine, Allison Walsh, and we hit it it was a pivotal hole, but we hit it in the pot bunker on, I think it was 15, chipped it out, got up and down and made par, and it was kind of a big momentum thing in our match. So you remember just little bits and pieces of things, but honestly it's more the celebrations and the other things that I got to do with because I had a ton of family and friends here when I won in 13. So just to be able to do all of that with them.
Can I just ask your thoughts on how the championship has grown since your win here in 2013?
Yeah, it's night and day. It's, and it's really been since AIG and since the RNA, really I think more since the RNA has come on board, because they have obviously run the men's championship for a long time, and so that they set a standard there of what they provide for the players and how they treat the players and the golf courses that we're playing. And so it's really, I think the RNA's relationship has really allowed this championship to grow to the level that we're at. And you know, and obviously the sponsor of AIG is important, but I think more of those connections within the RNA is really what has helped us grow. And the list of courses that we played, say from my first couple years on tour to now, I mean, it's night and day better. And so just really happy as a player that has pushed for this for a long time to see where we're going and where we're at.
Okay, we'll go Beth Ann, second row, please.
Stacy, obviously you're wearing a second hat as the Solheim Cup captain. Can you speak to the play of Lauren Coughlin of late, and then also how many people were narrowed down to what you're looking at this week?
Yeah, Lauren probably is playing the best golf of anybody on tour right now. And it's interesting because last year I ended up playing with her several times throughout the year last year, and you know, just watching her play, watching her demeanor, I'm like, how has she not played better? You know, and so at the end of last year, we're going to watch her, we're going to see what happens. And lo and behold, she has kind of figured out the short game and figured out the putting. And it's been tremendous to watch. It's been fun to watch the confidence grow. It's fun to watch her, you know, be more comfortable in those positions. And I had a talk with her a couple weeks ago I think it was after her win in Canada, and I told her, I said, we're not going to think about making the Solheim Cup team. We're going to think about playing good golf at Solheim Cup. So it's just trying to help her along in the mental kind of shift that she's going through. And but you know, she's got a great caddy on her bag that I think has been a great resource through this last month or so.
Okay, Martin, front.
Katrina, Matthew announced there that this will be the last appearance in this event. How special was that that you knew that? Do you offer a personal perspective on her career?
Yeah, I get to play with her and Kari Webb. I mean, that was like the most exciting news I've gotten all week is my pairing. Katrina, I mean, she's meant a tremendous amount to women's golf, especially here in Scotland, where, you know, we don't have a ton of tour players coming out of here, and you can see because of the weather, but she's been a tremendous competitor, and to go up against her in Solheim Cup and watch her be a leader there, and she's really become a leader in women's golf, I feel like, off the golf course, and has helped us continue to grow. And so it's just a huge honor for me to get to play with her, and then also Kari, someone that I've admired so much growing up. So I'm really, really excited for Thursday and Friday.
Okay, Pete.
Stacy, I'd like to take you back to your win in 2013. Your second shot into 17 green. Does that still rank as probably the best shot you ever hit in your life? And having hit it at St. Andrews, at this competition, that's got to make it skyrocket in your view, I would guess.
Yeah, it's by far the best golf shot of my career. Just the moment, the pressure, where you are, everything has to come off perfectly. I have the 5-iron is in my office in the golf bag, and it's the only club I have in there. It's the only club I've actually saved over the years. And so just to hit it in that moment, you know, you're really on that hole, you're trying to get it down to the bottom of the hill, and if it bounces up, great. If it doesn't, you two-putt and you get out of there. And it just came off perfectly and bounced up there the way it was supposed to. And you know, you need that in this championship. You need some bounces. You need things to go the right way. But it was definitely one of those in the air that you didn't have to say anything to. You kind of just knew it was going to be good.
Okay, we'll try and get the microphone. I think we've got a question here as well. But, Michael, we'll go back left.
Hey, Stacy.
Yep.
Right back here. So again, looking ahead to next month, and having had if it's possible being the wrong end of a tied match, I guess you guys were last year.
Yep.
Having had the better part of a year to reflect on that, what was it like leaving Spain, having not lost, but seeing the other team with the trophy? Can you talk about the weirdness of that?
Yeah, it was hard. You know, in the moment and kind of the aftermath, I was more concerned about the players. I didn't want them to see it as a super negative thing, because I felt like they did a lot of good things. And so I was trying to encourage them and all of that. And I just remember on the plane ride home, my daughter had fallen asleep. It was just her and I kind of had a little cry moment. Like, we worked so hard and we put so much into this, and it was a tie. you know, and it was like, that was the only moment I gave myself. And it was like, as soon as I got home, it just has felt like a carryover. It's felt like, call it unfinished business, you know. It was, and so, I mean, in a way it's worked out nicely that Suzanne and I are both coming back, because we get to kind of settle the score, is kind of the way I feel about it. I'm sure she feels differently, but I feel like it's a time to settle the score. And yeah, I mean, they're so close together that it really, I haven't had a break from it. I mean, we got home from Spain and immediately started into the next one. So it's been a long 3 years, I will say that.
You say settle the score, but it could be, you know, a tie again, essentially. Would you be in favour of something being done that would do away with ties? You know, whether it's one player from each side playing over and over until we get an actual decisive, definitive result?
I would be open to it. I think it would need to be something, though, that happened at the Solheim Cup as well as the Ryder Cup. I think we'd have to go, but it would be in our best interest to do it together. That way, for the fans, for everybody watching, it's the same, you know, whether it's the men's or the women's. I would actually see it more of a two-person, you know, because it is a team event. I would like to keep the team element to it versus a single player going out there with all the weight of the world on their shoulders. But I'd see it more of as an alternate shot, send two players out. You start out there on 14 or 15 where they got all the builds and let them play till it's over.
You've thought about it, like
I have.
Beth Ann out the front again.
I could ask two questions. Katrina, obviously winning, I think it was 11 weeks after giving birth, and then you're the last player on tour to win as a mom. How hard is that? Can you put into perspective? Because we just don't see it that often.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even swing a golf club till 9 weeks after birth. So I couldn't imagine winning a golf tournament 11 weeks after having a child. I mean, that in itself is so impressive. And, you know, being a mom and, you know, when I first came on tour, her kids were pretty little, and you don't really look into what they're doing very much. But once you do it yourself, it is not easy. And I have a lot of respect for the moms that have done it before. You know, just the travel you don't really have any time off. There's no downtime. There's no, hey, I'm going to go back to my room and just watch a show or watch a movie. Like, there's none of that. So just a lot of respect for all the women that have done it before me. But, you know, those women have allowed me to have childcare, to be able to travel with my daughter and be able to show her the world. So just really grateful for them and for the opportunities they've given me.
And then at 54, you know, Katrina obviously has till 60 to play in this championship, but she's not going to take those opportunities because it's really hard to be competitive when there's no full-time senior tour.
Correct.
You have a little while before you reach that age, but what are you hoping is in place maybe to allow players to compete longer?
Yeah, you know, we do have a little something that is called the Legends Tour, but it's not a tour. I mean, it's a few events here and there. But, you know, I would like to see a place, and it's, you know, maybe it's just like 2-day events. You know, it doesn't have to be full week-long schedules, because obviously as you get older, you don't want to play full weeks. So I hope that, you know, I do think it's something as a tour, as the LPGA, that we could do better of, is continuing to celebrate our past players, keeping them involved in the LPGA somehow. And, you know, I'd love to see, I think it'd be very cool to see a kind of a senior LPGA event with Epson players, to allow the mentoring process to allow, you know, to help those Epson players be more prepared for when they do come on the LPGA. And, you know, I think we could use our former players a lot better in that sense. And so how do you use them? Well, you give them a place, give them a platform, give them a place to play golf.
Okay, front left over here.
Hi, Stacy. Just following on from what you were speaking about there about the demands on tour. You know, it's a really, really demanding schedule. You've got the 5th major in 5 months, crisscrossing the planet. I just wondered, at 8.5 months into the season, you know, with that schedule, is anyone really at 100% this week?
Probably not, no. Especially those, I mean, you had the Olympics in there as well. Those that played the Olympics, I think you talk to most of them that I've talked to, and it's just emotionally so taxing that week. So, no, I mean, our schedule, especially Olympic years, is really, really tough. And the 5 majors just, you know, it's expanded, it's highlighted more when we're in an Olympic year. So, so yeah, it's the nature of it, and you know, there's been a lot of talk of schedule lately, but it's also at the same time I've been doing this for 15 or 16 years. So you learn how to deal with it, you learn how to be ready in those moments, and really just do the best you can.
Is there anything, obviously you've seen it change over the 15, 16 years, is there anything that can maybe be done to help, you know, people like yourself who are mothers, or you know, just make competitions closer together so there's less distance travelled? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the ideal, but the hardest part is, you know, the sponsors. You know, a lot of it is, when do sponsors want to play? When can we get the golf courses? You know, we don't have the luxury of the PGA Tour that says, you know, we want to play, we're playing this week, or we're giving you X amount of dollars and we're playing this week. You know, we don't have the money to just throw around to people to say this is when we want to play. So we're kind of at the mercy of sponsors. We're at the mercy of golf courses, and it's the nature of where we are. And would we like to be better? Yeah, absolutely. I think our team behind the scenes works like crazy on it night and day, but it's also, we're a global tour. And I think, you know, players kind of forget about that, is that, you know, if I want to compete against the best players every week. And so to do that, we got to go play in Thailand because we have players from Thailand. We're going to go play in Korea because we have players from Korea. I mean, I think that's just the nature of it. So it's more getting in your head, to me, that this is a global tour, and this is kind of what, if you said you're going to come play on the LPGA Tour, this is also what you signed up for.
Okay, nice question here.
When we get weather like we're going to have tomorrow, with the being cold, wet, and windy, what specifically over your career has kind of been most difficult when you get those conditions?
Keeping everything dry. That is the biggest challenge, especially here, because it's going to be raining sideways, and it's not like you can just stand under an umbrella and hide. So it's really, to me, it's keeping the hands dry, keeping grips dry, and it's a perspective, right? You got to do the best you can. You know, there may be times where you can't get to a green in 2 because of where your drive ended up, or and you got to go get the ball up and down. So, I mean, I think somebody that's going to win this week is somebody that's going to be a good wedge player, that can manage their game really well, and has a good mindset about it, because ultimately that's going to be the biggest challenge.
And then what percentage of the field this week do you think may not have the mindset for that?
I used to say you could take half the field out. It's probably less than half, or the other way. It's probably grown. You could maybe say 60% of the field. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, when they get off the plane and they see the weather, it's not going to fit them, and you know. But to me, I get excited about it. I see the weather, I see the forecast. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay, we'll go to Louine.
Okay, going back to children, and is there a case of saying that having a child, or 2 or however many, that it takes your mind off golf, and therefore you've got less pressure on the golf?
That's very fair. I would say the list of priorities in your life changes, where, especially back in 13, golf was number 1. You know, it was number 1 on the list. Everything I ate, everything I did, how I slept, the amount I slept, everything revolved around playing good golf. And now my daughter's number 1 on that list. And so so golf gets kind of shoved down there a little bit, and so it changes. But it also changes your perspective, in that, you know, bad rounds they don't bother me as much as they used to, because when I come home, I got a kid that all she wants to do is play and have dinner and hang out, and she doesn't care what I shot that day. So so it changes the mindset on both sides.
Okay, and Martin, we'll make this last question, please.
Follow up to Brentley's question there. People say Americans maybe don't like playing in tough conditions. As you proved here in 2013, that's not the case. Do you laugh when people say that? Have you chuckled yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair, though, because we haven't had a ton of American winners of this championship. But I grew up in Texas. I grew up where it's windy. I'm used to playing, granted, it's in the hot elements, not the cold, but just used to playing in the elements. And I've always enjoyed when golf courses play harder. I'd rather 5 under win than 25 under. So it's maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Well, let's hope the weather's not quite as bad this week. But Stacy, best of luck. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.